Kevin, right?
Yes.
Walk back
Fish on. He's gonna have you walk towards the back of the boat. Uh-oh.
Pull up on him. We got a net?
Yeah, I got one.
He's a hatchery fish. Come back here and net him, Jeff. Right back here.
Oh, straight spot. We got a little tangle going on.
Right up
Yeah.
there.
Got it.
Okay.
Nice, you guys.
Yeah. Tangle and all.
What a cluster.
Good job, Kevin. Give me some skin. Woo! All right, Kevin just got our first salmon of the day. Good job. How's that feel?
Great.
Yeah, Coho. So if you decide to fish Buoy 10, bring your own boat down here and try your luck during the season in August, early September. Figuring out Buoy 10 is all about the tides. And even though we've got 1 million salmon coming back, combined Chinook and Coho this year, it can be frustrating down here unless you kind of understand what happens. So when the tide is outgoing and really ripping, the fish get pushed to the sides, they get kind of stalled down here in the lower estuary or even in the ocean. And then when the tide begins to flood, it carries a pulse, a grouping of salmon into the river. And the bigger the tide, more flood you get, the further they go up into the estuary. And a lot of times what happens is, especially mid-season, early mid-season, the Coho, if you get a big tide, the Coho will come in with the tide, and then when the tide goes out, they'll go right back out in the ocean. They're just let that tide, they just go where the water goes. They just flush back and forth. The Chinook, they usually come in deeper in the water column. And they'll, when they flood in, they can go back out too, but when they flood in, they're flooding in deep in the water column. The water maybe, with a big tide, it's really whistling in, especially down here by the deadline. And they'll go right up the river. And a big tide will carry them all the way up to the Astoria Megler Bridge or even above. So it's all about figuring out where that pulse of fish carried by the tide is when they come into the river.
Eric's got a fish on, guys. Fish number 2. It's either a Coho or a Jack Chinook. We're gonna find out here.
So this morning we have a flood tide. The tide was bottomed out early, just after daylight, and then the tide now is flooding. And so we're down here at the western boundary. Buoy 10 has a boundary. In fact, it is Buoy 10. Buoy 10 describes this fishery from the actual navigation marker with number 10 stamped on it up to tongue point. But we're down here at the western boundary because at Buoy 10 and a north-south line extending from it is the first place you can ambush salmon when they come back into the Columbia River. From Buoy 10 out to the ends of jetties and buoys further out into the ocean is a closed zone. That's what they call the control zone. So the ocean is closed there. So the first place you can ambush salmon when they come back into the Columbia is Buoy 10 at the Buoy 10 navigation marker. So what we're doing, because we've got the tide is beginning to flood, we're down here at the western boundary or near the western boundary, and we're waiting for that pulse of salmon to come in. And we were lucky this morning. We caught one pretty quick. Caught a Coho salmon, and now we're trying to catch another one.
Yeah, there's a fish there.
Must have been swimming with the boat. Oh, yeah, now it's mad.
Oh, now he's stripping the line.
Whoa, now he's going.
Woke up.
What do you think, Chinook
30
or
feet.
Chinook or Coho?
Good guess. I don't know. It's a Chinook, no
I
doubt.
think it is a Chinook. You're right.
It's a Chinook.
Yeah, 'cause it sounds like it's a tuli jack, and we're gonna let her go or let him go.
Swinging over here.
See you later, buddy. All right, we said goodbye to Mr. Tuli Jack. Come back when you're bigger.
We fished down by the buoy, by buoy 10, the western boundary of this management zone. And on that flood tide, and there was a few coho down there, not as good as yesterday. And yesterday there was quite a few Chinook caught down in that area. But you know, we caught two, had a couple others on, had a couple drive by, yanked on it, but didn't hook them. And so we got fairway into the flood, and the bite kind of died. And so we moved upstream to the Astoria Megler Bridge, and we're above it right now, and we're right at high tide. So that tide has carried. Theory is that tide has carried fish up here. We got up here in our first pass. We caught a little jack salmon and let it go. It was a hatchery fish, but we let it go. And we just had another one grab here, and we're hoping that as this tide begins to ebb, go out, the bite should really turn on. Normally up here, it's the best. The latter half of the flood and the first part of the outgo is the best bite of the day up here on the high tide. So we're up here, and we're gonna, as soon as the tide, it's just peaking out right now. And as soon as that tide starts, you know, these fish, when they flood in, the water's pushing them in. They're facing west, and they're allowing the water to carry them in. As soon as this tide turns and starts outgo, they're gonna all turn around and face into the current. So we're gonna troll the opposite way they're facing, and see if we can find some fish up here. Okay, so these Folby rod holders, they're really popular. Probably the most popular rod holder in the region for salmon. And when you install these, of course you can turn it around in the mount. You want the solid side downstream. So your rod is pushing against that. And then the side that comes out, you want that facing upstream. And if you grab it on the end, it might not open. But if you grab it in the middle, opens every time. Also, when putting your rod in, you want to make sure the trigger goes in the slot. Trigger's got to go in the trigger slot. If it doesn't, then it may not close all the way, and you could lose your fishing rod. So the trigger goes in the slot, and you slam it shut. Then when you go to get your rod out of there, you want to grab it on both sides and pull up with equal pressure, like that, and it'll come right out every time. So you can pick your rod out of the rod holder and set the hook in one motion, if you need to set the hook. Most of the time though, out here trolling, you don't really need to set the hook. You can just pull it out of the holder and start reeling. But anyway, that's the story on the Folby rod holder.
Right, buzz is on.
Reel up, real.
Let's do her buzz. Yeah, bring her right side up. Right side up. It's swimming to Astoria right now, or I guess Tongue Point, huh? Coming around the horn.
He's big.
He's a big boy.
Maybe.
Oh, I don't know. He's pulling pretty hard.
It's a Chinook.
Come on, baby.
Yeah, it's fighting hard. We're just floating, right?
I got it. I still got it here.
I don't know if it's got angry yet, has it? I mean, it
He was whipping around there pretty good.
Oh, okay, here it comes. Oh yeah, no, that's a nice fish.
Very good spot.
I think he has a fin.
He's got a fin?
Let's look. There's something there.
in the water. It is a fin.
It is a fin? Okay.
Yeah. So This
leave him in the water.
This guy's going back, darn it. What a beauty though.
Okay.
Quick fixing.
Right.
No, we're gonna let him go.
See you later, buddy.
See you, buddy.
That was a nice fish.
All right.
Woo, bud.
Nice.
Sweet. Yeah.
We're fishing with the Douglas 360 trolling rods that I had a hand in designing. Fred Contawi and I worked on these. And these rods feature a new graphite material. It's high modulus graphite, so they're a lot lighter than a glass rod. But this Titan graphite is a new formula that, although it's high modulus, it's a lot likely to break as compared to maybe other graphites. The other thing about the Douglas rods is, and of course these are designed for 360 trolling, but they'll do a lot of other things too. But the thing about Douglas rods that's really cool that people are finding out about is the warranty. If you break a Douglas rod for any reason, you fill out a form online, you take a picture of whatever broke, the tip or the butt section, and you send that to them, and $50, they'll have you a new section. They won't give you the whole rod, but they'll give you whatever tip or butt section and have it to you within a week. And that's a great warranty program. It's not no charge, but it's a good deal. And the most important thing is I'll have it to you within a week. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about a new fishing rod.
This is Jeff, and I bought some of the Douglas Buzz Ramsey rods, and I think I had a buddy fishing one. I don't remember exactly what happened, but anyway, it was a 10-6 360 trolling rod, and ended up breaking the tip. And yeah, I can attest to that. I got a hold of Fred Contawi. He steered me on who to get a hold of at Douglas, and I believe it was $40, $50, $60. I don't remember what it was, probably right around 50. And right in about a week they shipped me the new rod tip.
Is this number 3 for you, Kevin?
This will be number 3. Ooh,
oh man, this is Chinook for sure.
Feeling the line.
He just took off down straight.
Walk back here.
Watch to the back of the boat.
All right. Okay, we're doing the dance, It's a little snotty out here, a little rough, but not too bad. Oh, it's doing a surface run. Whoa.
He wants to play.
It's like you're right. Real.
Oh. Like a torpedo.
I don't see a fin. Might have one, but I don't see it.
Nice. In the net. Keeper coming in the boat. Sweet. We've been grinding it out a little bit for this guy.
Oh yeah. Nice one. Nice. This is a Chinook salmon that Kevin just caught. And you can tell it's a Chinook. It's got these big spots on its back. And the bottom inside of its mouth is all black. If it was a Coho, it'd be black and white. And if it was a steelhead, it'd be all white inside the mouth. But this is a Chinook salmon. We were above the bridge. We caught a Jack Chinook, an immature male is what those are. He's a fish that didn't stay out for 4 or 5 years. He came in early. And then we caught an adult Chinook, a nice one, but it had too many fins, so we let it go. They got to be fin-clipped hatchery fish to keep. And then we had 4 or 5 strikes up there, and we didn't hook up, and I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if they were short striking it or what. But so then we got this outgoing tide now, and so we've been trolling on the Washington Channel. There's a Washington Channel, which ultimately is a blind channel, or it ends up there, tapers out, but it takes till you get about 3 miles above the Astoria Megler Bridge before it kind of peters out. And then the South Channel is a shipping channel, so it's a well-maintained shipping channel. But we're going along the big sand island in the middle. We're trolling along in 30 foot of water west of the bridge now with this outgoing tide, because those fish are going to face into the current. And we're going to go the opposite way they're facing. And we just caught a Chinook. So yay. The one theory of down here is when you have a high tide and then the tide begins to go out, the west wind invariably starts blowing. And the theory is, according to a friend of mine, that when the tide goes out, of course, it's just, you know, the air is coming in, moving in to displace that lost elevation, if you will. And so we got a west wind, it's a little wavy, but the fish don't care.
Well, that was the end of our day one adventure. We got 2 in the boat, and apparently the percentile today is like 1.3, so we are like in that top percentile. But we're fishing again tomorrow, and we're gonna fish just as hard or harder, right? and so I don't know how many, we missed a bunch of fish. How many did we miss today?
Well, we landed 2 Coho and we landed 3 Chinook, but we were just able to keep 2. And we had, I don't know, we lost several. We had quite a few bites, an amazing amount of bites that I don't know why they didn't hook up. I'm thinking, well, maybe I had too short a leader. It was a little too quick for them. So we're gonna go a little longer leader tomorrow and see what happens.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Had a great time today.
Yeah,
And we're gonna do the repeat.
it's a great day. Thanks to Buzz. Thanks, Tony. Looking forward to tomorrow.
This morning we're starting off our troll down here at 14 and going out to about 10, buoy 10, buoy 14 to buoy 10. And so on our front rods we've got 16-ounce sinkers and we're putting it out just 20 foot. And on our back rods we've got 12-ounce sinkers and we're going out 35 foot to start with. And we'll see what happens. So we're covering a couple different depths in that water column. So we're just starting our downstream troll. I got a couple tips for you though. Number one, if you use these snaps, like most people do yourself a favor and put a little spring tension in them. These are stainless steel. You want to bend that baby out so it's got some real tension, so when you snap it, it'll stay snapped, okay? The other thing is that if you're probably using a pre-sharpened hook, and that's great, but if you catch a fish, just catching a fish on one of these hooks will dull the point. And one of the best hook sharpening tools is a file, at least for the size hooks that you might use for salmon. And the thing to remember if sharpening a hook with a file is to hold the file fairly parallel to the hook point, and file it not at a steep angle, and file it on at least 2 sides till it's sticky sharp, till it sticks in your finger a little bit. So of course if you use a file, you know, they're made of high carbon steel, so you just about got to spray them down with some non-corrosive liquid or WD-40 or whatever. Otherwise it's going to rust up and not perform for you.
Hey guys, we're back for day 2, kind of working our way out towards buoy 10. You know, the strategies out here kind of depends on what the tide's doing, and right now the tide is going out. So instead of shooting right out to buoy 10, we're trolling our way out there, and then, you know, we'll start fishing 10 and then start working our way back in. And depending on how hard the tide pushes, we can stay there for a while. But once you can't hold in the current, you kind of got to turn around and just start figuring out what you want to do. And then you got to decide which side of Desdemona Sands you want to fish, the Washington or the Oregon side. But we can talk about that later. But yeah, we're back with Buzz. How are you doing, Buzz?
I'm good, I'm good. Yeah, we're down here. The tide by the book is starting to flood, but it takes a while, an hour or more, for the flooding ocean water to slow and finally stop and reverse the current down here. So we're still, you know, although by the book it says we're about the bottom of the tide, the current's still, the big flow of the Columbia is still going out. So those fish are facing into the current. We're trolling west, the opposite way they're facing. It'd be like getting on the freeway going the wrong way. You're going to see a lot more cars going against the traffic than you are with it.
And we're back out here with Kevin, Eric, and
Jeff.
Yeah, we're back. You know, I gotta remember all these names all the time, but I had them down at the dock, right? What the heck?
Yeah.
So who's gonna be the first one? Who's gonna get the first fish? Actually, my rod was pretty hot yesterday, I
We got
gotta
a
say.
birthday boy here today, Tony, so we're hoping to get him into one, and then we got to get Eric into one as well.
Yeah, it's Kevin's birthday, and I told him if you're 65 or older, you can use a barbed hook. That's not true.
I like it.
Yeah, that's not true, but it sounds good. But I think that'd be a good rule. If you're over 65, you can use barbs. Let's try and make it happen. Or actually, let's just get barbs for everybody.
Buzz.
Just like that. Buzz was letting his rod out, and boom, nothing better than that. That's awesome. That's like a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's there.
Still there?
Not very big, but he might be a keeper.
Little guy.
Let's see here. What do we got?
Coho, a jack.
The Coho.
Good Coho, yeah.
And it looks like he's... Yeah, there's no fin there.
Fin coming in, no fin coming in. Oh,
No
going
fin,
under
no
the
fin,
boat.
No fin. Whoa,
He's over here.
Going the wrong way.
It's all over the place.
Ready, Jeff?
Here comes the net. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. I love it when they swim into the net like that. Let's double check.
All right,
Oh yeah.
Buzz, good job, man.
All
Woo,
right.
on the board, just
That was
like
exciting.
that.
No problem. Yeah.
That's nice.
Just letting my line out, and guess what happened? Hatchery Coho. Yeah, in case you don't know, this little fin right here between the dorsal and the tail fin, this little fin right here is the one that's got to be clipped off in order to keep a Coho, and right now a Chinook too. We're down here by between 14 and 10 trolling. The flood is just starting, but of course the flow of the Columbia takes a while to stop it and reverse it. And so when the Columbia is really outgoing, the current is really outgoing, what the fish do is they get near the bottom where maybe there's a little drop off or dishes in the bottom, and they'll get in those dishes so they don't have to battle the current. They'll also get to the current edges. And our first pass, I kind of got off track and we kind of went right down the middle, right down towards Buoy 10. We had one little jiggle and I don't know what it was. Anyway, then we came back up to 14 and we pulled over here in 20 foot of water and started the downstream troll over here on the edge, where when that tide is, or when that current is really flowing, the fish pull over here to get out of it so they don't have to battle the current. And I dropped mine to the bottom and made one bounce or reeled it up a couple cranks and wham, got one.
And we kept telling Buzz, hey, 50 feet that way. You know, just, I mean, you know, maybe 100 feet, and we would, you know, because we know where the fish is.
I got guys throwing all kinds of directions at me. I'm not sure what to do.
We just made a run back up, and we're heading towards the ocean, and boom, just like that, we got a hot one. Whoa, acrobats.
Yeah.
He saw you, Tony.
Saw the camera. But I don't want to be on film.
I think.
I missed.
You got a big?
I don't think so.
No. You got a big, so. Oops. Well, that one's got a fin, so it's going back. Oh wait. Oh wait, no fin.
It's got no fin.
Information's coming in as I get it from over the boat, so it's coming in.
No fin.
Nice.
When we did our last pass down towards the deadline, we ran back up and I was kind of debating whether to stay on this side, the south side of the channel, or maybe over the north side. But we came this way and I figured I could always cut over, and we saw several boats catch fish. So we went past them, 300, 400, 500 yards, and then we dropped in and boom, we caught one right off. So sometimes when you're running back upriver, you see a lot of nets waving around. It's time to think about fishing.
I've also seen a few guys carry the binoculars around and kind of, check out all the boats. I mean, there's so many boats out here. The fish are spread out, so if you see fish being caught, you can just jump right in on them. And if you do that, you can end up with stuff like this.
There's one right there. Tony, right
Hey,
there.
Oh, we got one. Or like that. Woohoo! Just like that while we're talking.
Leave them front ones out.
I thought you guys were pointing at a boat next to us.
Well, that too.
Oh, it's a little guy.
Trade your spots.
It's a baby.
We're gonna let it go.
No, it's a real baby.
Later, buddy. Maybe.
Because we're on a barbless hook rule, you got to pinch the barbs on your hooks. A lot of times you're fighting a fish, you lose more because it's barbless. You got to keep that line tight. You got to reel steady. Don't pump the rod, because if you pump that rod, when you drop that rod, if he gets a little bit of slack, that hook will fall right out. The other thing, a lot of times people will reel steady, they're doing everything great, and they'll get up to where the fish is at the boat, and they'll stop reeling. They got their sinker, they can't reel anymore. And they'll stop reeling, and that fish will get a little bit of slack, the hook falls out. So not always, if it's definitely a wild fish, maybe we won't net it. If we're in question, we'll net it, because otherwise it's going to fall off. And if it's a hatchery fish, we want to be able to harvest it. So the rule is keep them coming, real steady, and if that net's ready, just wheel them right in the net. If you want to play with them, take them home, put them in the bathtub, right?
Get it! Oh no!
Spit off.
Came off.
So when you're down here trolling, at least these days, most people are using cannonball style sinkers, big ones. We got 16 ounces on our front rods and 12 ounces on the back. So if you went with a guide or a friend, probably they're going to tell you to reel up until your line counter reel says 7 feet, and then swing that cannonball sinker to you and catch it. And don't reel it right to the tip unless you got a fish on. But reel it until you're about 7 to 8 foot from the tip and swing that cannonball in. If that cannonball is swinging around on the end of your rod and you're moving your rod around, you slam somebody in the side of the head, they might hit the deck. You might knock them out. And I've had it happen. So anyway, a little tip for you there. And also, when you bring your gear in, when you catch that, leave your gear strung out. Don't bundle your leader and your lure and your flasher and everything together, because invariably it'll get tangled. So what I ask my friends and people that take fishing with me is leave that gear strung out when you bring it in the boat so it doesn't tangle up.
Jeez, Buzz, is that your rod again?
No.
No? Right, Eric.
What do we got?
This one's gonna be a little bigger than that last one, I bet. What do you think?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, more than, yeah, they're all gonna be bigger than that first one.
Eric's the new guy in the boat, so we're training him. He's in training. Man, I think he's got a nice fish on here.
That's a nookie.
It's like made a surface run.
Reel to the bead and then lift. Lift.
Got it. I see a fin, I think.
Can't tell.
Yeah,
It does
it's got a fin. It's going back. Nice, bright one. Well, hey, nice fish, huh? It's got to go back, but good job. All right, see you later, fishy. Back to the water. Whoosh.
So the current is still going out, but it's slowing down. And of course, we're over here on the edges in this shallower water, you know, 24, kind of on the 24-foot line. And I don't know if we're going to make it down to buoy 10 now with it starting to push a little, but I'd like to get down there. In fact, we might even run down there because that water is flooding in so fast, you just hold into it and you're not going anywhere. You're like back trolling. Just like back trolling for steelhead, and you're allowing that flooding ocean water to bring fish, carry fish into your gear. And so we may go down and do that, especially for the first hour or so of the good flood. The thing about it down there is, especially if you have a big tide, the dense cold ocean water is flooding in underneath the surface water. So the surface water, yeah, it's kind of moving upriver. But down below you, if you a lot of times you turn up the sensitivity on your fish finder, especially when there's a big tide, you can see a line where that deep, dense ocean water is flooding in hard. And the surface water is, you know, maybe down 20 foot or so is down that deep is your surface water. And you're really trolling in that surface water. If you let your line out too far, that heavy current will grab you and you can't tighten your drag down tight enough. So what's happening is those Coho and a few Chinook are in that surface stuff, but a lot of Chinook come in and they ride that deep ocean current upriver. So a lot of guys will fish, the first couple hours, that incoming for the Coho, mostly a Coho bite, sometimes Chinook, and then they'll run upriver to catch those Chinook that blew by them deep in the channel and are upriver a ways. You know, maybe to Hammond or even above. Maybe to the bridge. Big tide like today, they'll be even up at the bridge or above the bridge. So that's why a lot of guys will fish down here for the first couple hours of the incoming. Then they'll run upriver to try to get into the Chinook.
All right, we moved up to the deadline at buoy 10, and how long did that take? About 10 minutes, Buzz, to get that guy?
It'd be about 10 minutes, yeah. Eric Scotty, not really fighting much now. Went there for a second.
So Eric, you're up here from Texas?
Uh-huh.
Nice. He's still there. Oh, he's still there. Coho.
Not now. Just rip off?
Yeah, he popped off. Popped off, darn it.
If you consider one of these Douglas rods, the first thing you're going to notice is all the guides are tipped out. That's not a mistake. These are called no-tangle guides. And they're slanted forward. And what that does is, number one, they're not sticking up as far, so they don't catch your line as bad. And if your line does get wrapped around them, you just put the tip down, and a lot of times it'll just roll right off there. Now that doesn't mean it's going to totally prevent your line from tangling around your rod, but it's a lot less prevalent with the no-tangle guides. So the tide now is starting to push enough that we're really not making a lot of forward progress. And we're just east of number 12 buoy. So, you know, we look around and we don't see any nets, there's nothing happening, but there could be in 10 minutes, you know, they flood into you that quick. But we're thinking, I just talked to a friend of mine, Bob Reese, and he's over here by buoy 10 near the deadline, and there's some fish being caught there. So we're gonna pick up our gear, run down there and see if the bite is still happening, if they're still flooding in there, and hopefully have some luck. You can come to buoy 10 and jig your own bait with one of these little sabiki rigs, and you can use more than 3 hooks if they're not over a certain size, and usually about an ounce of weight. And if you see a bunch of bait splashing the surface, or you see a big mob of bait on your fish finder, it could be, you know, they could be juvenile salmon or steelhead. They could be, chances are they're anchovies. You know, you might even see herring in here at times, or candlefish. And any, like I say, any rod and reel will work, but this is what they call a sabiki rod. So the rod is big diameter, so you can reel all those hooks into the rod, and then just let them out when you're ready to fish. Just let them go. And they make these sabiki rods in different lengths. And I was using a back bouncing rod for this, but I got tired of the hook tangling into everything. So I invested in a couple sabiki rods so we can come out here and jig bait. And I've come down here before and jigged you know, a couple dozen baits, and then anchovies, and used them for bait, and caught a limited coho trolling them, and then gone home. The other thing about it is you can figure out what size bait is in here, because sometimes the salmon are queuing in on a certain size bait, and if you catch them with your little anchovy like this with your sabiki rig and then use it for bait, you're kind of matching the hatch. So I handed the sabiki rod to Tony, and he caught a sardine. A nice one. I think we could probably plug cut that and catch a Chinook.
All right, you guys, we limited out. Check it out here.
Yeah, look at that fish box.
Thinking that there should be a bunch of Chinook up here at the top of the tide, you know, up here meaning above the bridge. Normally what happens is those Chinook scoot in on those big tides, and they come up here to the bridge or above. We're actually, where is it? The shipwreck is right there, so we're above the bridge, several miles, and we're in the North Channel. There's a North Channel and a South Channel. The South Channel is a dredge shipping channel, and they call this Blind Slough, I guess. And it goes on up here, and it doesn't totally peter out, but it gets pretty shallow. You know, like 6-8 feet, if that. And but you can troll way up in here, and people haven't been fishing up here much this season. I'm not exactly sure why, but they say there's not a lot of fish up here, but I'm marking them on my screen. We're right at high tide right now. Normally this is the best up here, the last half of the incoming and the first half of the outgoing. So we're right at a high tide. Usually the bite kind of fades at a high tide. It's definitely faded because we're not getting bit. But once it starts to outgo, this could turn on. So we're hedging our bets. We're thinking, hey, we're gonna get them. So we're trolling in here, and we're gonna troll downstream. And as this tide begins to recede, hopefully it'll turn those fish on and they'll bite.
Yeah, and yesterday, I mean, we had 2-3 takedowns up here, I think,
And
right?
yeah, yesterday we came up here, 2 or 3 takedowns. I'm not sure why we missed them, but and we did catch one. In fact, we caught a couple. Didn't we catch? I think we caught a jack up here, and and an adult that we had to release. But we'll see if we can get them today. Down low this morning, catching that push of the incoming tide, and we caught a few coho down there and released a Chinook, and I think we hooked a couple others. And as that tide floods, of course, as I might have mentioned, that bottom water, that deep ocean water, that's where them Chinook are riding that current in. And so generally speaking, those Chinook get up here to the bridge or above on a big tide. And so we came up here hoping to catch a Chinook. And we've had a couple rattled so far, but that's been all. But right now we're at high tide, and we're several miles above the bridge, maybe 3 miles. And we're in the north channel, the blind slough side. So this channel goes up here, way up here, then it kind of peters out, gets pretty shallow. The south channel, and there's of course a big sand island in between, Desdemona Sands. The south channel is a dredge shipping channel, but we're up here. Those Chinook kind of get deadheaded in here, and so we're trying our luck for Chinook. This is generally the best, the last half of the incoming, first half of the outgoing tide. And so we're right at high tide right now. It's going to start edging out here pretty quick. When the tide is flooding, you troll with the current because they're facing into it. They're letting them back up in here. And then when it peaks out, you can just kind of troll around. And then when the tide starts to outgo, they're all going to turn and face into the current. And we're going to troll into them the way they're facing and see if we can have some luck.
He bit. He struck while I was coming in to check for weeds.
You got the weed fish on there? Oh, no! He just took off. How does that feel?
That sucks.
Sometimes it's really easy to tell if you got a tuli just by looking at the color. If I show you right here, you can see, you know, this kind of red color right there. You know, if its belly looks like that, that's a tuli. On the last couple of trips that I've been on, there's been a lot of fumbling with getting your rig out into the water. A lot of you guys already know how to do this stuff. I'm not, you know, trying to teach people that already have a system, but everything is about this right here. See this guy? This is essentially a wrecking ball. It loves the side of boats. It loves people's heads, maybe their teeth, but you gotta control the ball. Keep it in your hand, okay? Then grab your rod. So you got the ball, you got the rod, and what I like to do is put the ball under my finger. Now, if the ball's still up here and you're holding it, just click your bail, let some line out, pull it back. Then once you got it under your finger right here, click the bail. I'm a lefty, so this is goofy for me. Okay, so you got the ball, everything's safe, nobody's getting hit in the head, you're not hitting the boat, pissing the boat owner off or your guide. Then you grab your stuff. Usually I just grab the flasher and let my bait hang. And you know, you might your ball might have been in one of those holders or in the gunnel. So you grab all your stuff like this, and then you can just lean over with your bait or your rig at the bottom, your hook, and you just drop it down in there like that. And then you just take your finger and whoosh right out, but don't hit the boat. Get out past the side of the boat. So then once you're out there, you just reel your weight up to the tip of the rod, just like that. Redo your counter up here on the reel. So reset your counter, and then what I like to do is, like, don't let it out too fast. If you let it out too fast, if there's a fish over there, it's not. If you let it out too fast, what's gonna happen is the flasher and your spinner or herring or whatever is gonna go whoop, just like this, and go and tangle all over itself. And that also is very frustrating. So you just click, and I just use my thumb and just go real fast, just like this, but short strips. You know, you can get it down really quick. And then when I bring it up, I'll show you what I do. It's pretty much kind of the reverse of what we did putting it out. Ooh, just hooked into one going towards the bridge here.
Somebody get on that net.
I got the net.
Keep reeling.
Uh-oh. Don't let him get too far up here because mine's still down here.
Reel down.
We got a cluster going on. It's a little roily out here too. You can see that chrome piece down there. Nice fish.
Bring this up towards me.
Bring him in.
Got him. Woo, guys.
Let line out.
Let line out. That is a big fish.
On your spinner, buzz. Yay. That is a big one, guys. Nice, beauty.
Okay.
Send her
Back in the
home.
water.
See you later, buddy.
No, that shit.
Woo!
Hold it. Just kind of still for a second.
Right, just like that. It was really calm out here. Wind started kicking up.
That was
I
tight, wasn't it?
don't know what it is, but it seems like once it starts getting a little bit rough on the surface, fish just like to bite again. So we're gonna go for another one.
We went above the bridge, and we've been fishing pro trolls with spinners and super baits and spin fish stuffed with canned tuna. Jeff's got a secret recipe, and we've caught fish on them today, all that stuff today. But up here above the bridge and really from probably the bottom end of Desdemona Sands on up, you got a mix of the salt and fresh water, the warm water coming down the Columbia. The Columbia is like 72.5 degrees up here. So you can get a mixing, but those fish hit that warm water, and they don't exactly dig that stuff. And the deal has always been that you do better on bait or scented stuff down low in the estuary and spinners up here. It used to be that I would run a Towman or a mulkey spinner, red and white, pretty big blade with a fish flash on my front rods. And then if I fished bait, I'd put bait maybe on my back rods, or I'd fish all spinners. There's times up here, the only thing I could catch them on was a Towman or a mulkey spinner, and some of the best colors are, red and white. That's what that one came on, or a chartreuse green dot, or a Mexican flag. Those are all solid choices if you try the big spinner up here. But a lot of the guides will tell you, hey, them spinners, you get up here where you get this mixing of the water, they work. Sometimes better than bait.
I just showed you guys a little while ago kind of how to put your stuff out, like easily, painlessly, hopefully anyway. It doesn't always go that way, even if you fish forever, problems happen. So what I normally do is I bring the ball up to about the right height. This is goofy, so it's kind of goofy for me. But you just want to bring it up to where, you can reach it. So it's hanging there. It's pretty windy out here. And you just swing the ball to your hand, right here. You can see how windy it is, like stuff's blowing all over. Don't swing the ball into the side of the boat. That's not a nice thing for your friend. If it's your own boat, you don't care, hey, that's okay. So then you can put the ball right here. You can grab your flasher. You can bring in your bait right there. And so this is like your unit, okay? See this little square area? Don't leave your hook sitting in the middle of the aisle, okay? Because somebody will step on it and hook their foot. So if there's a tray, some people have trays, you can set it in the tray. But then, you just sit down. I got the ball right here. I can grab the ball. I can let a little line out. Set it in the tray, or got a little tray. And then with this one, I'm going to open it up. Literally just set my rod just like that, and then take up some of this slack right here, see? Just like that. Boom, ready to go. I mean, you don't need to time me on that, but you get pretty quick at it. So you get the ball in, swing it to your hand, let the bail loose, bring it in, but you know, always keep control of the ball. So the next problem is, you know, okay, so I'm gonna let this out again. Just like that. So if you got like, well, even if you don't have a fish on, okay? Okay, aim, look out here with the camera. So like, you don't want to have the ball, like that and start thrashing your rod all over the place. That's how you break tips. So you always want to kind of keep it away from the tip a little bit. You know, because see, I can wiggle the rod. I can wiggle the rod around, no stress. But if I was to go like this, start doing that, that wouldn't be a good idea. It would be really hard on the tip. If you're jumping into a guide's boat or a friend of yours that you never fished with or you never fished before, these are all just little things that make it a lot easier. So hopefully that helps somebody. I'm sure it'll help a few people anyway. Well, we put in an honest day's work, or I should say Buzz did, right?
It was all fun. Fishing wasn't fantastic for us today. I mean, I would rate it as kind of below average for Buoy 10. We did land, I think we landed 9 fish. We were thinking 8, but then we did have a little jack Chinook that we let go. So, you know, down by the buoy, we landed some Coho, and then we went upstream and tried to wham the Chinook, and we had a little Chinook luck up there, but not what we anticipated. So next time, next tide.
I want to thank Eric for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And Kevin.
2 good days.
And Jeff.
Yep. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Buzz. It's a great day. Great 2 days.
And hopefully you learned something today. And don't forget to subscribe to Salmon Trout Steelheader and to subscribe to our YouTube page. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.